Weird.
Who would have ever thought we would have tech problems in 2023?
I've never had an issue with my internet, but
Yeah.
it looks
Did it
like it was
just,
on
it
my end.
fully dropped out?
Yeah, I guess it's on my end.
Weird.
Anyways, if we miss all that salon talk, I think the episode can survive. But if we
I don't know
have
if
it,
it
I'll
can.
use it.
I waited till mine uploaded completely before signing off, so
Thank
it's
you.
there. You're
Okay.
welcome.
Well,
Our,
yours
our
will be there.
listeners will thank us too.
I don't know if mine will be there, but yours will be there. Hey, I've got some super exciting feedback. I've got a bunch of listener feedback this week. I'm going to read to you in email form. It's an international batch. Some of it is positive, some of it is not so positive.
I
But
love it all.
we're
I
gonna
mean,
start with
I
the good
mostly
stuff.
love the not positive.
You will actually love the not positive one because it's really, really funny. Anyways, the first one coming through says David and Chaz, and then it goes all caps. You, expletive, legends.
Mm.
I've been listening to The Grit since episode 1 and never thought it might save my life.
Yes.
I have shown my spots to doctors in passing occasionally, but had never had them checked properly. After hearing you talk about the topic of skin cancer awareness 2 weeks ago, I booked a checkup at the local skin clinic. The dermatologist really didn't like the look of 3 moles and cut them out a week and a half ago. Quick and easy. He rang me with biopsy results yesterday, and 2 out of 3 turn out to be melanoma. Still thin at a little bit more than 1 millimeter deep. I'm booked into day surgery next week to get some extra margin taken out, but the prognosis is excellent because they were detected early. Thank you. Thank you. Get barrel, not buried, and keep up the work. Brendan on the south coast of Australia.
Boom. I mean, Australia, particularly to our Australian listeners, I have written before in the award nominated book, Welcome to Paradise, Now Go to Hell, especially on the Gold Coast. It is a sun that cancers, is how I described that sun. So this just makes me so happy, David Lee Scales.
Crazy, right? And he's on the in the south coast, so that's even closer to the equator, right?
Yeah.
Actually, no,
No,
they're
North
south
Coast
of the
would be,
equator, so north would
yeah.
be, yeah. But even still, he commented as a PS after that and said, I went back and found the exact part of the episode. It's around 44 minutes on April 29th episode or 27th episode. A great call to action. Something that you said resonated for me to get off my arse and do something. The ABCs of knowing your spots you spoke to last week were spot on as well. The only thing I might suggest to add or reinforce is to not wait for the E, the evolution, before getting an expert opinion on the A, B, C, or D's to raise the red flag. P.S. Chaz, have you had that quote giant thing on your leg checked yet?
I haven't because I did. So actually, that thing, I need to go again probably. But I had that checked forever ago, right? And they were like, "That's nothing." So I think it's nothing, but
Well,
I'll go back. It
go
hasn't
back.
changed. It hasn't changed since then. I'm sitting on the E here, but it is
Did,
time for another what appointment for me.
yeah, and they said it's nothing. It's something. Even if it's not melanoma, it's not nothing,
I
right?
mean, it's something. Who knows? Who knows, right?
Hmm.
Some of this stuff is who knows, except for I'm going back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, this other bit of and then he just followed up by saying, "PPS, props to Sunbum for sponsoring the show and for this month's content in particular. A quality product. I obviously need to slob it on more often." And
Great.
I did forward his email to them, and they were uh, they sent fantastic emails back, thrilled. So glad to close the circle on that somewhat.
Saving lives, David Lee Scales. Saving lives.
This other listener feedback also is international. I don't believe that he stated where he's from, but it becomes apparent to me that we have a very Southern California centric opinion once I read feedback from other places.
It's true.
And he identifies that as well. He said, "Dear Chaz and David, I wanted to write you for a while, and finally I found some time to do it. For a few years, I've been an avid listener to your podcast, and I used to enjoy your insights, self-awareness, and wit. However, over the last months, I've noticed a significant decrease in the quality of your program. The incessant kook bashing is really becoming annoying. I've seen many beginners of various ages in different lineups throughout Australia, Indonesia, and Europe, and rarely have I experienced the quote, I take what I am owed attitude that you so often speak about. 95% of them are humble people, aware of their limitations and respecting other surfers, and who may not have been lucky enough to have been born in a place with surf so that they could start doing it early. Give them some slack, please. I have mates that rip who regularly let beginners and intermediate surfers, non-locals too, in on waves now and then with a smile and a kind word. Also, I've seen many rippers drive small and big vans, VWs, and Mercedes alike for the mere practicality of it. I think your observations are so SoCal centric and they do not apply to the majority of locations. Also, has it ever occurred to you that the primary reason for not kissing kids on the lips may be to prevent that child from getting diseases such as mouth herpes and caries at an early age? I'm not sure what he meant by caries, but um, I know that these diseases are not dangerous, but they are definitely a nuisance and they're more difficult to acquire at an older age. A caring parent should consider that too in their assessment of the pros and cons of when kissing their children. Finally, a barrel or nah. We have gender specific toilet cubicles at work. Sometimes I find a toilet seat warmed up by a man's buttocks. When I was younger, I used to prefer an ice cold seat. Now, however, I find it pleasant, almost comforting, especially if there are no skid marks or offending smells attached. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about toilet seat pre warmed by another man's buttocks. Oh, one more thing. I find it a bit sad that there's less and less surfing in your show and more talk about trashy TV shows and celebrity dramas. I'm aware that the WSL sucks and that the comps are not worthwhile, but I miss the surf talk. Anyways, keep up the quote, good work. Cheers, MJ.
I mean, one of the better parts of this show, of course, is like real, true, and honest bashing that is all 100% deserved,
Totally.
right?
And yeah, deserved, accurate, spot on, all of it.
All of it, like 100%. Everything you said, MJ,
Mm-hmm.
everything you said, everything you feel, MJ, is exactly 100% correct. Uh, we're all in a period of growth here, doing the best we can, etc., etc. But here's the beauty, right? I think of, and this is what we're missing in general in culture today, of being able to take a lick and not be defensive about it, but be able to say, oh, wait a second, everything MJ said is correct. Now, you and I need to go look at our behaviors, think, okay, why did we do this? Is there a point to it, right? Because counterpoint, MJ, with your love and the kook thing, right? I totally get it and have been there too. Somebody's having the best time of their lives paddling in, and you're like, they're an enjoyable person in the lineup, an enjoyable presence. And so, of course, you're going to give them waves, right? You do that,
Yeah,
David Lee Scales.
sure.
Everybody does that, I think, which all is based on the personality of the kook. Uh, I've got nothing against kooks, got nothing against adult learners, got nothing against anybody. Do have something against entitlement and a real lack of even trying to learn the rules, which that's what I think I will continue to fight on that front. So I hear you, MJ, and I will raise you a people who just don't care anymore, because I think we are living in an era of, and this may be more American centric, I suppose, than Australian centric or elsewhere, but I think it's probably pretty, I don't know, applicable to Western culture in general, of a me first, my turn attitude that is pervasive, right? And so there I will counter you and say, yes, totally. If a kook and or Val and or whoever has a good attitude, if they're self-aware, I just think self-awareness is so critical and such a thing that's, it just seems like it's in lesser and lesser supply of people who are self-aware, who can say, I am so sorry if I was paddling, whatever. Then most people are happy to lend a hand to somebody like that. But the person who paddles in and then throws attitude after dropping in, uh, yeah, there was one. Where was it? Was it on Stab's Instagram? There was some kook who looked out, there was some guy getting barreled. I think it was on the Gold Coast at Snapper, probably, fully getting barreled. Guy paddling in, looks over, sees him, continues to go, and then crashes right on his head. Right, where it's that kind of thing. This show is important to eradicate. Good
Yeah.
attitude, yes. Entitled attitude, no.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we could hear from one of the Vals who is that kook paddling in on the shoulder and may or may not fully understand the etiquette to hear their side of the story?
I would love that more than anything.
Well, wouldn't you know, 3 hours ago, once this show was already prepped, an email came in that offers us that perspective.
Boom.
So I'm going to include that here. He said, "Hey, David, I'm listening to the Sanskrit with Devin Howard episode. And around the 43 mark, you were discussing why there is more greed and less etiquette in the water nowadays. I think you were right about it by saying that there's a level of unearned entitlement, and a lot of people, show drives. Oh, okay, a level of entitlement that a lot of people show that drives me absolutely nuts too. But it hit me at the moment in your discussion with Devin that there might be another strong reason for this urge to take as many waves as possible, especially among us newer, lesser surfers. Since the pandemic and the rise to remote work, I believe lots of people who have not previously lived near the ocean and did not have the opportunity to surf regularly now do. In Europe, I would guess, and it's the same in the US, there is a migration of people looking for certain lifestyles to those places where they can live their dreams and hobbies. A lot of people might be trying to fulfill a lifelong dream of learning to surf well. So they are extremely hungry and impatient, and they realize that they need a high wave count to progress and catch up in skill level with the good surfers that they see around them. Basically, that's my story for the past 3 or 4 years. I moved to Portugal from Germany during the pandemic. I'm a lifelong fan of surfing. I've admired the heavy water guys, especially their athletic background, competitive in nature. I've been inspired by watching videos of John Florence laying it on rail all day. And now I'm faced with this weird challenge of trying to get good at surfing where the actual time on the wave practicing your technique is so fleeting. And it makes me really hungry for waves. And it makes it so tough to let waves go by to somebody else simply because they're in position. The only way for it all to work is by having empathy and understanding for the other perspective. In my case, I need to have empathy for the locals' perspective. For one, they grew up there and they feel a sense of pride and ownership to the spot. Number two, they've had to work their way up. Number three, they probably have been letting decent waves go for generations, and when it was way less crowded. Number four, they probably actually have to squeeze surfing in between their work life and their family life, whereas surf tourists or maybe remote workers might have more flexibility in their schedule and they can get their fill in throughout the course of the day. I very much enjoy and appreciate your nuanced discussions about surfing. This is why I thought I'd share my perspective in the spirit of more empathy and better communication, especially because you usually have accomplished people in and around surfing on the podcast who grew up surfing and living by the ocean. So trying to adopt a point of view of a newer surfer might not come naturally to them. There are definitely a lot of clueless idiots out there, but there also might be a few kooks who are just trying to get better as fast as they possibly can and achieve their life's dream of being a decent surfer. And I bet they feel like me, that they have a lot of years, if not decades, of catching up to do. Anyways, keep it up. Thanks for the great content, conversations, and perspective. All the best from Alentejo, Portugal, from Jan.
I truly love, first of all, the fact that he even dropped the work. Let's just keep it up now.
I know.
Just,
I got a great one later. A great
there's no
sign
work
off that
left.
somebody
It's just
gave us.
keep it up. Just go, yeah, whatever. But again, Love the self-awareness, right? So much of all of this trouble lies in the self-awareness. Like if somebody drops in on me, some guy who's just out like this bro, right? Just out trying to get better, like so starving for it, knows his window is short, it's closing, and or whatever, right? He just and then drops in, etc., and then makes a robust apology, and then doesn't do it again, right? Like it's one thing to apologize and then continue to do it again, but there's another thing to apologize robustly and then go sit behind that person, right? And give like almost in essence block for them, right? Let them have the wave that you just stole off them. That's thing one. Self-awareness, again, beautiful. But another thing for this bro, he is coming of age, of surfing age, in the era of wave pools, where I think this actually, especially not the surf ranch style, but the wave garden style, right? Where if he really wants to improve quick, and just go book some like that's what wave pools are great for. I think is they take the precious resource because waves are, even though it is an unlimited resource, it is a precious resource. There's only so many good waves that come through every day and a bunch of people in the lineup, right? And so just go practice what you want to practice. Book a couple hours at Wave Garden, right? Go work on that turn or this snap or whatever you're trying to do. And then that will make your, I feel, ocean time that much better.
It's really interesting to think through that because dominion over your surfboard certainly is part of surfing, and it's certainly a part of surfing that I focused on for a long time. But that part of your surfing, you don't need the ocean for, And I'm
No.
realizing as we're figuring that out, like, yeah, if you just wanted to figure out how to do the best cutback, let's say, go practice in the pool. Book the
Yeah.
time, practice in the pool. The dominion over your surfboard thing, you can practice there. But going to the ocean is full of all of these other virtues that really have nothing to do with the dominion over your surfboard thing, And they're related in a certain way, and there's a certain gratification that comes with doing the best cutback. But I thought for a long period of my life that was what I was trying to do, was improve at surfing, and I've figured out at this point in my life that that's just the smallest part of what surfing provides for me.
You need to get, it sounds like you need to get on a CI Pro, David Lee Scales.
Maybe I
You,
do. Maybe I've
again,
not taken it seriously enough.
I mean, I'll tell you, we can deal with our friend here longer, but this board changed my life.
Oh,
I'm
you got one?
back. Yeah, I got one and
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm surfing it. Yes, I am
Holy
back
cow.
to a pointy thruster. Like paddling out the first time on that thing, it's so weird to see how paddling out, right? First time. This is the CI Pro is like one, I think 2022 Stab in the Dark, is a what? Chianca, I think. Is he number one or number two in the world? Two, one.
Number one.
Number one in the world. It's his board, right? I mean, I know
Yep.
that Connor Coffin helped develop it and all this, but
Parker.
or Parker, sorry, but it is like Channel Islands' high performance offering. It's like rockered out, super thin nose, all of it. So Britt Merrick heard our discussion and said, "I got you, man. I'll shape you a high performance board. And what are your dims?" It's like I have no idea what my high performance dims are on.
Yeah.
Like I've realized that I've wandered in it was fun, but the desert of alternative shapes for so long, I had no idea what my proper surfboard was supposed to be. So I gave him like what I was kind of riding, and he shaped me one. It, I don't know why we went down this mid length
Really?
traipse. To be honest, it is like eye opening from the first wave.
Wow. So are you, I mean, obviously there's been good waves these last maybe week or so. Were you
Yeah,
riding it in good surf only?
it was good enough surf where I wasn't having to grovel. Of course, I think that would be difficult. So it was waves that provided enough punch where, but so paddling out, right? I'm looking at the nose and thinking this nose doesn't exist, right? I've been on like foam forward stuff for so long that seeing a just like little point coming out, I was like, how? I'm not going to be able to catch waves on this. I'm not going
Right.
to be able to, none of this is going to work. Spun for the first wave that came, and it was like zero problem. Uh, the responsiveness underfoot, you forget. I'm going to
You
like
do
get
forget.
on, like I'm fully back in high performance pointy thruster. Like back on, like catch waves, no problem. We're not invalids at this point, right? Like I think the idea of I need help catching a wave. We maybe when we're 60 we will, but not yet. You can catch a wave no problem. Popping up on that thing and feeling it go underfoot, I was like, what? Literally, what have I been doing? Why have
Yeah.
I been wasting my time off this thing?
Well, I hear you loud and clear. I'm not in my peak fitness to make that leap quite yet,
I'm not
but
either. I
but
mean,
I,
I hadn't surfed. I had not surfed before paddling out in 3 months.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like max. Oh, it was probably 2 months. Maximum out of surf shape.
Wow.
Maximum. Like that's what I'm
Okay.
telling you. It wasn't like your muscle memory from your all the rockered out thrusters you've had in your life is right there waiting
Yeah.
for you. And you thinking that that doesn't exist, like, yeah, I mean, Britt texted me after sending it was just like pointy thrusters forever, basically, right? Like, is sure, all of these other things are fun, but the pointy thruster is the apex.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've experienced exactly what you're talking about. It was probably over a year ago, but I did exactly like the waves got good. I pulled out the pointy thruster, paddled it out with low expectations, and was bottom turning on. I don't know if it was my first wave, but bottom turning on a front side right, and I could see the lip up at 12 o'clock. And I just thought to myself, obviously that's where I want to go. And the board was there instantly. And I
Yeah.
was coming out of it and coming back down going, whoa, how did that happen so fast? And how did I even get it into that angle, you know? And then I realized, oh, that's exactly what a pointy thruster does. And the waves were good. And at the end of that session, I thought, this is the pinnacle of surfing. This is exactly what I want to do all the time, but I don't have access to the waves all the time. But of course, if I did, this is what I would be doing all the time.
I'm telling you though, the waves that I was surfing were not great. There was enough, like, I think what you need is, for me at least, like the wave needs to have enough push where you're not generating your own speed,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
to have it to generate your own speed, then I get the, volume forward, blah, blah, blah kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, we've all, I will say, I don't know about we all, I had become so conditioned to, I need this, that, or the other thing to catch a wave. No, it was a pure revelation of
Hmm.
everybody should add all of our listeners who have gone down the mid, and I'm back to fucking Devin Howard. He led everyone astray.
Man, he looked like a prophet, and we're going to find out in
It was
Judas,
a
and we're going to
false
find out
religion.
down the road.
A false religion. No, I still love my mid, right? Like there is a time and a place. And I suppose I've never wanted to be the guy who says, hey, the waves dictate the board you're supposed to ride. But maybe I'm coming over there a little bit
Hmm.
of the problem is that the mid requires a good wave, which that's what I learned from Devin. The mid is not a groveler, right? A CI mid or any good mid, I think. There's grovelly mids, I'm sure, called fun boards. But a good mid, you need a good wave, right? That's what Devin
Yeah.
taught me, is that look at the length and shape and lines of this board. It needs to fit in a longer pocket. And so the same good waves. Now, okay, what am I going to ride? My pointy thruster, my mid, my whatever, right? Where, uh, anyway, though, all I know is I am back and you should come with me.
Okay.
Leave volume behind.
All right. Well, I just got a new G skate. So should I put that aside, even though it's brand new?
I mean, and have you ridden it yet?
I rode it. Yeah, I have. I rode it this week.
Is it super fun?
Yeah. I didn't really unlock it, like I didn't, and it was my own fault. It's not the board's fault. It's like I got up and riding on a few waves and just kind of getting my feet in the wax or whatever, and didn't rip a wave, but I saw the full potential of the board and I'm psyched to like rip a wave on it.
Yeah, which is again, and I feel this kind of like not that they're user friendly per se, right? I mean, from I was ruminating on my own journey here, which it all started with Biolis, with the what was it? The bottom feeder. Is that a
Okay.
Biolis board?
Yeah, I think it is a lost surfboard, but I don't know which board it is.
Yeah, so it was like that was the first one I'd had, which I think I'd picked up from Derek. The idea of a again, super like your volume forward on the board. Like it's not a high volume board, but your volume is forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably 15 years ago. And I've only bought boards like that since. And now thinking, screw volume forward, like bring it all back, suck it all back, take it out of the
Okay.
nose, and I can still catch waves.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Before we have our next show, I will ride the thruster and I'll get back to you. We can
Yeah.
reconvene on this conversation.
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel the thruster it's been a good, everything is a pendulum, of course. But I think the pendulum has finally swung too far to the user friendly shape. And it's time to swing back to this is not just a board for Idolo or for Gabriel Medina or for, you know, whoever your favorite surfer is. This is a board for you too. And again, if you've surfed a pointy thruster, I guess there's not a Val conversation because I don't know how many pointy thrusters any Val has ever surfed.
I honestly feel like this entire conversation is a smokescreen to get the valves onto pointing thrusters so that they're not catching as many waves and then you can just have free reign.
I wish. I don't know what a Val can do, but all I know is the first 10 years, 15 years of my surfing life was only on pointy thrusters. And the muscle memory is there. I should
Right.
bring my Yemen board in one day to our conversation. Like, this is the pointiest thruster ever. It's a
Yeah.
JC, just pointy, squash tail thruster.
Yeah.
But that's all I ever rode. And
Yeah.
it comes back like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, like I said, I experienced the exact same thing you're talking about, so I know how that feels, but I haven't continued down that path, so I will revisit it and we can continue the conversation.
It's time. The problem
Okay.
is, and I hear you, that we will catch waves later. But also, in the many and varied unspoken rules of surfing, yes, the person closest to the peak, etc., is in position, gets the wave, blah blah blah. But also, in a subset of that, the person ripping the most also gets more waves. So if you're actually ripping, you just drop in wherever you want. Just
Yeah.
like how many times have you and Derek Riley always speaks perfectly to this point of pros dropping in on him and him just enjoying the view of watching them rip the bag out of the wave in front of him, right? Where if you're going to drop in on someone and actually rip on your pointy thruster, dude you dropped in on, if he's on some user friendly shape, has no leg to stand on. If he's
Yeah.
like, I was in position, but you're like, yeah, you're standing there going straight, buddy.
Yeah. I haven't been burned by pros that very often, but I've certainly been muscled around by them in the lineup, and like, especially in hunting, growing up in Southern California, every professional surfer comes through at least once a year. And so, yeah, I've been muscled around and out positioned and all that. And I'll often in the normal lineup vie for positioning against that person and kind of muscle back. But when it's one of those guys, I don't mind giving way and just letting them have, and doing maybe not being on the wave with them like Derek's talking about, but just allowing them so that I could just watch because
Yeah.
that's fine too.
I mean, I think Derek's specific point is always goal, snapper, basically, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, dropping in behind him and just enjoying the show.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, do you want to hear from, well, there's giant news in the footwear world today.
Massive news.
Should we
Major
discuss
news.
that? Or do you
We
want to
sure
hear
should.
from Miguel in the Canary Islands. Which should we do first?
Let's do footwear and then go to the Canary Islands.
Okay, footwear it is. So, very interestingly, Kelly Slater somehow unblocked me. I was,
What?
yeah, I was on Surf Splendor's Instagram account and somebody posted something about Kelly and tagged him in the post, and I could see the tag. And I'm like, huh, I shouldn't be able to see that if I'm blocked. So I clicked on it. Sure
There you
enough,
were.
went over to his page, fully wide open. So then I went on my personal account, boom, wide open. So I
Okay, wait a
refollowed.
second. Wait, a quick question here, which I'm no social media executive, but do blocks have is there a date that they stop working?
No,
You sure?
95% sure.
So what I'm hearing you say is Kelly Slater went into his blocking all the ones he's blocked. Oh, he probably literally did this. He probably went into them. He said, "I'm starting a new footwear
Yes,
business.
yes.
I need to figure out. I need. I went too wild, so I'm gonna go and see who of these people have bigger followings and will help me promote it and unblock them.
I mean, I honestly think it was probably advised by the
Like you blocked way
powers.
too many people. You basically blocked everybody in the surf media.
I think it was just advised, from people maybe who have an interest in this footwear company to like, hey, we need to roll this out and
You
to as
blocked
many
everybody.
people as possible, just go in there and unblock everybody. I don't think that he was picky about who he unblocked. He probably just
Wait a
pulled
second.
back the veil. Yeah.
You think I'm unblocked is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, I think so. You going to check right now?
I'm gonna check right now.
Because part of my ambition with this segment that I've designed for today is to get reblocked, and we're going to check how many days. I'm going to check every day at the same time after we publish this episode, and we're going to find out if it took 2 days,
It's
if it took
Kelly
a week.
Slater, right?
Yeah.
I'm blocked as.
Oh, you're still blocked.
I'm deeply blocked. Yes.
Okay, so I don't know then why I've been unblocked, but there's a possibility that after today I will be blocked again.
No, but here's what I mean. I totally buy and back your analysis, but I think Kelly personally went through, which I don't know why he has this much time on his hands, but for sure, the narrative of him blocking everybody is well known. I mean, that's the beauty of all this, right? Like, as we talk about this stuff, and I think people could think that, oh, these are just like uninvolved haters or haters hovering on the outside. But everything we say is true and is well known in the industry, and people laugh about it. I mean, I will not name names, but I've had many of Kelly's friends come up to me dying laughing about what we do, what is done, Kelly's thin skin, recognizing it, laughing about it. And, so all of this is true. So Kelly's business people went in and said, just unblock, you've gone too far. The surf industry is blocked.
Yeah.
So we need to sell your crap eco sandal, unblock, and then they'll start sharing.
Yeah.
They'll feel good. They'll feel like they're reaccepted. So I love that your mission is to get reblocked because
It's not my ambition necessarily or my mission. I just think that it's liable to happen, and it'll be interesting to see how long it takes.
okay.
Like in number of 24
Do you
hour
think
cycles.
do you think you're going to get reblocked by this segment here?
It's a possibility.
Because what
But
do
I'm
you
not going to
feel?
go. I'm not going to go hard. We're just going to present the information, and if it's laughable and joke worthy, maybe some jokes will be had. But the quick news is, and then we'll hear directly from Kelly himself, by the way, is that Kelly Slater released a new sandal, and it's a footwear company apparently, but they only have one product currently. It is the Kelly sandal. Kelly spelled without the E, so Kly.
Old school, dropping the vowels.
And I'm going to play for you the inspiration behind the design directly from Kelly himself.
Is this a call-in?
Yes.
Yeah, so the design process was pretty seamless. We just started throwing out a few ideas around this, and it was really kind of the first idea we had. I like reading about like ancient cultures and strange things about animals and whatever. And this one day I was just reading about turtles and the fact that they have 28 plates around the edge of their shell and then 13 in the middle in between that. And there's 13 lunar cycles in the year and 28 days per each lunar cycle. So there's some weird connection between the moon and turtles. And turtles are such an inherent part of the culture here in Hawaii, where I spend a good portion of the year. And I don't know, it seemed like some kind of fun messaging to put into a sandal in some way. And because we were thinking about what kind of tread to put on the bottom. And I thought it'd be kind of cool if we had something that represented that. So we started talking about it and came up with this idea to make that the tread on the bottom of the sandal. And then that led into making the surface of the insole the moon, because there's an inherent connection there between the ocean and the moon with tides. And obviously there's something beyond our knowledge with turtles and their shells that we don't really understand.
The turtle moon sandal is precisely what the footwear industry needed and what humans
What they
needed.
were begging for. Derek, I read Derek's headline this morning about Derek, in Derek fashion, had a good funny headline about turtles and the moon. And I didn't understand what it was, but just assumed it was funny. And
Yeah.
it is funny.
It's, well, the bottom, it's exactly what Kelly said. I did not edit that in any way, by the way. The bottom, so the tread of the sandal looks like a turtle's shell, carapace, right? Like 28 little individual tiles around the edge of the bottom of the sandal.
13
and
in
then
the middle?
13 in the middle. And then the sandal, the footbed of the sandal looks like the surface of the moon. So I'm not sure I fully understand exactly how the moon and turtles are connected still, other than what he stated. But the turtle's shell faces upward. It's not on the turtle's foot. It's not like, oh, the turtle is known for their great grip, and so we're going to apply this grip at the bottom of our sandal. It's all theoretical, and he states that apparently turtles have a connection with the moon that we're unaware of. And I'm not sure that they do, or if this is just it. Do they really, or is this just a coincidence? And
No.
either way, how is it connected to a sandal is my question.
This is Kelly being Kelly. This is why, and I'm going to go ahead and get you blocked again right here. This is why Kelly Slater is the world's worst entrepreneur. He does stupid stuff. Kelly does stupid stuff, and then people are, I don't know if they're sycophants, probably some are. Some are fanboys, some are whatever. Like, I don't care what you got 3.9, whatever he's got, million Instagram followers. I don't care what you're saying. Your name will sell something, right? And so if you want to talk about moons and turtles, great. And we'll design that around you. We want to sell a flip-flop.
Yes.
In truth, it is like Reef circa 2012. The flip-flop, it's a thick soled,
it's ugly,
thick strapped flip-flop, like, which,
yes, for $80,
like, which is insane. Like,
yeah.
I can see your mid-American dude who doesn't care, who loves, like, you know, wants a comfortable footbed and a thick strap flip-flop, and be like, well, I'll get mine at Costco for 30, if that, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to spend 80 on that thing? And again, this is why Kelly is the world's worst entrepreneur. He has dumb ideas that get put into. What of Kelly's line of business has succeeded? Let's be real frank here. Let's start with Perps.
No,
You can't find it anywhere. No,
I don't know if it still exists.
Probably doesn't. K-Grips, his traction pad company, which was and leashes and whatnot, which I think Quicksilver just gave him that and you know, whatever, but it's totally gone away. It doesn't exist anymore. I think Slater Design surfboards are ostensibly like struggling. I mean, you've got probably certain models that work, maybe.
But that would be the most successful of all of the businesses for sure.
I mean, I think between that and Outer Known, but I think Outer Known and Slater Design surfboards are both struggling to maintain market share in the marketplace, right? Where they're existing, but I don't think either is thriving. Again, only place I've seen Slater Design surfboards in the wild is at Surf Ranch, on the racks there. I've never once seen Slater Design in the water. Have you?
Yes, I have, but I agree with what you're saying.
Like it's not, and I don't know that I've ever seen anybody wearing outer known. And
Right.
then so from
KS Waveco.
KS Waveco, one in existence. That's
Yeah.
it. The prototype is still the only one.
Right.
What else we got from Kelly, the great entrepreneurial mind of Kelly
Chia
Slater?
Seed Company.
Done. Like, doesn't exist anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and like, this is precisely why is somebody comes to him and says, "Hey, we see a space in the market for this, right? We see white space."
A turtle moon sandal.
And Kelly goes and turns it into a turtle moon sandal for $80. And
Well,
then, like, this thing is going, who's going to buy this? Imagine who he's competing with on this thing too, right? It's not like the flip-flop space is like, I think people don't have beef with Reef.
no.
You got Javianas for your, like, whatever price point thing. You have Rainbow if you want a leather offering. I don't know why this world needs another flip-flop.
It does not.
And
I was
what
excited
Kelly's going to do.
when I saw it. I'm like, I'm actually kind of interested to see what this is about, what it looks like. I saw the image of the sandal and I was like, wow, it is horrible. And
It's
then
hideous.
I thought, well, ugly shoes or ugly footwear is all the rage right now.
Sure.
From the high-end fashion brands, ugly, clunky, big, bulky, all the way down to Crocs, right?
Sure.
And so I'm like, you know what? I don't get it at all, but this might be on trend and maybe it does have a market, right?
It doesn't.
But then I'm like, what is the weird textures that are on it? And so then I watched the video that I just played a snippet of for you. And I'm like, holy cow, nobody tells this guy no.
Yeah, nobody tells him no.
That's what this is. This is exactly right. Somebody gets in I don't know if they invite him into the room or he invites them into the room, but they're in the room together. And he even says in that video, he goes, we started brainstorming on some ideas. And in fact, this was the first idea that we came up with and we went with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because nobody says no when they should say no. The moon's surface is not what I think of when I think of grip or when I think of comfort for my foot. In fact, not a single human foot has ever touched that surface or ever will. And then number two, the turtle shell is not what I think of when I need grip under my foot. Yeah, and the fact that these two things are connected through a 28-day, 13-month cycle is pure coincidence. The turtles know nothing about the universe. They have no insight into the universe that you and I don't have. Full stop, right? And the sandal, and even if they did, the sandal does not represent that and is in no way connected to those things.
And I think this is why Kelly is the world's worst entrepreneur, is because he does have experience and a name and could lean into something. So, because I read also, Kelly claimed in something I read, I broke my foot and it took forever to recover. So he could have led with, hey man, I've struggled with major foot broken issues. This could have been a straight orthopedic, right? It could have been hitting the 60 plus set. There's a market there.
He's into that demo.
This is an orthopedic sandal for you, right?
Yeah.
This is, you walk around, it'll heal your foot. So a couple odd things about Crocs here. You want 2 Croc hot takes?
Can you hold them? Because I need to pee.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back with a Croc hot take. Hold on. All right, I know if you saw me chugging that water early in the show, it ran right through me.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so hot Croc takes.
2 hot Croc takes here, and again, in reference to Kelly's being a failure and a dumbass. One of these hot Croc takes really relates to Kelly being a dumbass. So, first one is ballet teacher told kid, hey, you got to wear Crocs, right? Crocs, wear them all the time. Crocs actually strengthen your foot. So this is what Kelly could have done with this, right? The way Crocs are, I suppose, or I've heard, however soft they are, your foot is always fighting against itself to strengthen. And so they actually strengthen your foot. And so there is a real thing there, right? Which Kelly could have leaned into this and said, this sandal will make you surf better because your foot is always finding its balance point in it, right? Like it's a soft rubber, blah, 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 blah. Nothing with moon or turtle, just purely a soft rubber or algae foam or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Okay. So he could have done something. Crocs do something. The other fun, hot Croc thing I heard or read was so when they were doing, the movie,
Yes, I saw
Idiocracy.
this.
Yeah. Idiocracy, where the costume designer was tasked with finding the stupid shoe for the future. And long story short, found the person who was developing Crocs, and the Croc prototype is the idiot shoe of Idiocracy.
I saw that. It was like an Instagram reel or something. But the production designer was supposed to design a shoe, but they had a tight budget. They didn't have time and money to develop the shoe, but they saw a Croc in development. They're like, oh, that's perfect.
Yep.
Those look so idiotic. They will never, ever make it to market. Boom.
The Crocs.
Crocs.
But all to say, though, so Kelly, if he wasn't the world's worst entrepreneur, has an avenue here if he would market it correctly. If he would market it as an orthopedic shoe that allows, or orthopedic sandal that allows old people's feet to strengthen, he could sell them through nursing homes all day, every day, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But this Kelly, Kllly, over under on it going down, I'm going to say Kelly is really, that's what makes Kelly one of the world's worst entrepreneurs is one, he lends his stupid ideas to dumb things and sycophants. Number two, he won't push it after the initial one. Like, so Kelly won't be coming on and regularly like saying, hey, get your Kelly sandals. These things work. He won't mention it again. So I'm going to give this thing over under 2 years going down.
Oh yeah. I'm going to go 8 months.
Yeah. I mean, this thing,
I think I'll take the under on your 2 years, but I honestly feel like with the list of products you've just named, he's one Buick commercial away from Shaq territory. You know what I mean? Where he's just selling his name to a branding agency. And next year we're going to have Kelly's Pineapple Pipeline Hawaiian Punch available in grocery
Shaq was
stores.
Smart. Shaq crushes on all that stuff. Shaq understood the market and so would like make millions off his brand. Like he knew the product he was marketing, where it would go, and it sells, right? Kelly's not only don't sell, they tarnish his name. And stinking Stab coming in, love Stab, but Stab trying to come in or did an interview with Kelly about this thing, like how Kelly is a great mind, a business mind, where it's ludicrous. Like Kelly, you could do a entire Netflix special on Kelly Slater failed products, and it would be one of the funnier of the year.
Do you know all that I could think about when I hear him talking about turtles?
What?
Do you know that meme?
No.
I like turtles.
Do you know that one?
No.
Oh man, I wish I could play the video for you. I've only got the audio. It's like one of the original videos from YouTube where there's a woman at the fair, like a news reporter out on the street at the fair. And there's a little kid with zombie makeup on, just standing there. I'm gonna play the full clip for you.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think? I like turtles. All right, you're great zombie. And good times here at the Waterfront Village.
I'll send you the clip later. It's literally my favorite video, maybe of all time. He's standing there with a zombie face paint, and she tosses to him, and he just goes, "I like turtles." Out of nowhere, he doesn't have a turtle in his hand. He doesn't have face paint of a turtle. He just Jonathan likes turtles, and so every time when I heard Kelly talking, he's like, "I like researching stuff on the internet and ancient civilizations and animals and." I like turtles. I don't think he says I like turtles, but he says something. He says, I was researching turtles and I thought about turtles. And I was like, dude, that is Jonathan.
I like turtles.
So I'm waiting for some listener to make a meme with Kelly and Jonathan.
You were straight into, thankfully, you're blocked again. I think we can officially,
Yeah, I
you
think
can
so, too.
officially count yourself blocked after this episode airs.
Well, there's other Kelly info news that we wanted to discuss in recent weeks. We just didn't make it to it. But he was granted the wild card into the back of the season with the caveat in the rule book that was introduced in March, not highlighted in a different color from the rest of the rule book, even though it was added, just completely crowbarred in, hoping nobody would notice, with a rule stating that for former world champs or former top 5 finishers, they will be granted points as a wild card in the back half of the season. Well, guess what? We didn't quite identify it at the time of revealing that news story, but with Chloe Andino falling off tour, there is only one other American currently on tour. That is Griffin Colapinto. And in order to get into the Olympics, it is the top 2 finishers from a given country. So Kelly Slater will be the second American finishing on the CT this year, which should grant him a spot into the Olympics.
There's one thing you're missing, though.
Okay, tell me.
Unfortunately, is that Hawaiians are also considered Americans outside of the World Surf League. And
That's
so
right.
we've got, who else do we got? We got
John.
Seth Moniz, I think, is a buff there.
I think Barron's still on.
Yeah. Like, so Kelly's got to chew through all those too. Like, so when...
Okay, got it.
When you made this, like, I thought, oh my goodness. But then I remembered Hawaii is America.
Got it.
Unfortunately for Kelly. But I have a hot piece of goss that is uncorroborated and needs work.
Much of our information does.
So what I've heard from a good source, and it's a good source, that there's been a petition to the Olympic Committee to allow Kelly to surf in the Olympics because of what he's done for surfing. And that petition has been initially rejected of like, we appreciate what he has done, but we still have to follow some kind of rules here.
Yeah.
But there's a push from what I hear, a push from notable surf voices, like, which that's how bad Kelly wants it. I think Kelly really, really, really wants to surf in the Olympics.
That makes sense. Well, what the Olympics might want to also investigate is, doesn't he have financial ties with the WSL?
Yeah.
And he's, you know what I mean? So that creates a conflict of interest that I'm not aware of in any other Olympic sport.
I mean,
his company, first of all, his company Outer Known, either they were sponsoring the Surf Ranch Pro at some point. I don't know if they are in this year. He's financially tied to KS Waveco, which was purchased by the WSL. I believe, allegedly, he has financial interest in the WSL.
Yeah, no, so I think the KS Waveco shares turn into WSL shares vis-a-vis the purchase.
So that all creates a very questionable conflict of interest for the Olympic Committee to consider.
I mean, I think wonderfully for them, I think the only international organization, sporting organization more corrupt than FIFA is the IOC, and or it probably is the most. And so I think they have no problem with that as long as the skids are being greased at some point.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough on Kelly for this week. We have not discussed him for a lot of the previous weeks, so I think it's all good.
We did over-under on Sandal surviving. What is the over-under on you getting blocked?
Okay, good question. I'm going to say 72 hours.
72. You think that's the time it's going to take from this podcast airs to he hears about it to he's fed up again and says, I was right all along.
Monday
you people told me.
Monday at noon, I think will be. Do you want to take the under or the over?
I'm taking the under. I think Kelly is so thin-skinned, and that's the beauty again, is I think a lot of our listeners may think that, oh, Kelly Slater doesn't listen to the show. He's got way too much time. Or not way too much time. He's got way too little time and is doing way too important things.
Yeah, designing sandals.
Yeah, I don't think that Kelly listens to the show, but people who listen to the show will be in Kelly's ear within 3 hours of, I'm going to say you're done within 18 hours.
Okay. But then if he
unless I spoiled it right now by talking about it.
Exactly. Now he's going to be like, well, now that'll prove that I did listen. And so he's not going to block. So we'll see. It might be after 72 based on that, but it'll happen for sure. All right. Hey, we've got rules to live by, tools to live by, actually. I love the guitar riff too. Presented
through the Tim Allen's.
Presented by Veyer Watches.
Ooh, I have a Veyer story real quick.
Okay, hit me with it.
Are we doing a Veyer promo here?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, when Kid was on boat puking, I had my Veyer watch on. The luminescence of the hands were so brilliant at night because I was trying to time if her pukes were like same rate, if they were getting more frequent, less frequent. Pitch black, out at sea, not one light anywhere. The luminescence, anybody's had one of those watches where kind of the luminescence of the hands lasts for a couple hours after sunset, whatever, after it gets dark. These things were so bright all night that I could time her pukes perfectly just by, luminescence, yet another reason to buy a Veyer watch.
Excellent reason, because like I said, it's the ultimate tool, right? I mean, it's like you don't want to have to charge it. You don't want to have to think about it. You don't want to have to worry about it malfunctioning. And our life is so technology laden that we just are reliant on all that stuff. So it's nice to have something that's mechanical that just works no matter what. So there you go. Boom.
And I see just even today, I saw some Instagram post about all the nifty Apple Watch faces you could download. I'm thinking, my goodness gracious me, not only are you downloading a face for your watch, thing's got to be charged every single night. If you do not charge it, you're done. Like, if I had an Apple Watch aboard, there's no place to charge an Apple Watch. I would not have known how long my daughter was puking.
Well, I also think about it is the best selling watch on the market, the Apple Watch. And so I see it on everybody's wrists. I see 20 of them a day. And it's like, I don't want to wear the same watch as everybody else. I would like to have something a little bit unique. So Veyer fits perfectly into that category. It's spelled Vaer, by the way, Veyer. So VeyerWatches.com. Our promo code is SURF15, and that'll save you 15% off your purchase. So free shipping in the US, easy returns, obviously built for the outdoors, built for water. So they're waterproof. They have a waterproof warranty. So check them out, VeyerWatches.com. A lot of listeners brought to my attention, by the way, that we talked about tool time. We talked about home improvement. And we even talked about the tool girl that was on Home Improvement, but did not identify that it was, in fact, Pam Anderson originally in the role.
I totally forgot about that. And when you mentioned it, I was like, how in the world was that not leading?
I know.
Back to Kelly Slater.
Exactly.
Pam Anderson was the tool time girl.
Yeah. No joke. I don't know how we didn't realize that either, but listeners certainly did.
If Kelly Slater had made a sandal that was based on Pam Anderson's tool time belt, I would have bought it. I literally would have bought it.
That'll be product number 2, I'm sure. It'll be a fanny pack, maybe. All right. So this listener line call came in. It's he mentions the Surfer's Journal and a cover that's on, but it's a little bit dated. It's not the current cover, but it doesn't matter for the call. I just thought I'd point that out.
Yo, this is Alejandro John from San Diego. I just wanted to point out that in the latest Surfer's Journal, the one with Nathan Fletcher during that huge straight air, the opening page is showing this crazy setup in Tasmania, Australia, and talking about the virtues of keeping it all canned and not telling everybody where the spot is, not blowing up the spot, and like posting and all that. And then not even halfway through this issue, there's a whole article talking about this photographer, Klopp, I think, and the Dominican Republic, and just saying, you should talk to these guys. This is a beach that you could go to. Otherwise, yeah, you might not be able to find all the different spots. And he even goes and is talking about how El Salvador, Nicaragua, Mexico, Philippines, all these places are either too hot, too dangerous, blown out. Costa Rica, and blown out in the sense of too many people, too many foreigners, whatever. And then this whole thing is talking about Dominican Republic and is effectively telling people how, to do it if they want to go. So seems a little hypocritical or ironic, whatever you want to say, matching of articles and content. I found that curious, so I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on that.
So the question, aside from the hypocrisy of the Surfer's Journal, because I think we all kind of struggle with this exact hypocrisy, which is, what is modern etiquette for disclosing surf spots?
Sure.
And it's even more relevant today because of Instagram and geotagging and surfline cams and all that sort of stuff. So what, in your opinion, is the modern etiquette for disclosing surf spots?
Again, as the pendulum swings, I think at this point, if you're going somewhere, if you yourself are going somewhere and it's not the biggest mission of your life, if it is the biggest mission of your life, by all means, right? Unless you've lived a simple, unadventurous life. If some place is so hard to get to or takes such a toll, like Yemen, tell people there's a wave outside of Mukalla. It is probably 15 kilometers up the road from Mukalla in Yemen. There's a point break there. I don't know if it's still there, but there was a fish processing plant. So there's probably a lot of sharks there. Epic and fun. Have at it. Everyone go. If you want to surf a right point all by yourself, it is super, super fun. Outside of that, if you can fly Dominican Republic, keep it quiet. And also, Surface Journal, God bless them, they're doing the Lord's work. And I'll give them a pass on this kind of stuff. I think, but maybe I won't. Don't do it anymore. Either blow out or talk about places that nobody can get to, or again, let the pendulum swing back to keeping all of these places crazy secret.
Yeah, I think I don't see a reason to disclose anything, to be perfectly honest. There's not even a reason to say pipeline. You know what I mean? Everybody can identify that one on their own, but whether they can or can't, there's not really a reason to disclose where it's at. It only drives traffic essentially to that spot. And so I think you obviously want to share information with your friends. And so that's all fine. Word of mouth is fine. But if you have any public forum at all, and I know, again, I've crossed this boundary and I am absolutely a hypocrite because I'm kind of redefining the rules for myself as I think about it now. But there's no benefit to naming the spot. It's whether it's the Huntington Pier, pipeline, or a secret point that you would have to fly into and, wherever. There's no benefit to discussing it publicly.
And I suppose what, beyond Surfer's Journal, right? Which is magazine and they should have their own standards and whatever they're doing. But I think where most of these things get probably named is via social media.
Totally.
Nobody cares. People might care to go poach and try to get in on that. But so what's the point? I watched rich dudes surfing epic places and think, you fucking suck. You were an embarrassment to even the idea of surfing. I don't know why it's like Eric Logan style, right? I don't know why I don't want to watch you surf. All of this
you should not be publishing this.
Is a total miss. You publishing yourself surfing is a miss to begin with. You publishing where you're surfing and it being uncrowded is a full-on miss. All of this, the narcissism that goes with publishing anything on social media, that's all have at Mother's Day, posting pictures of your beautiful wife / mom / whatever. do the chore with social media. I get it. The outside of that, stop.
Yeah, I
Every
think so too.
surfer should not, nobody wants to see your session. Nobody. Like, and if you
Yeah.
think that 9 comments you get of like, ripping, sick, bro. Like, if that's really what it takes to stroke your ego and give you some kind of joy, just look at that for a minute and think, oh, actually, no, that didn't make me feel that good. Knock it off. Like, social media is the problem, and knock it off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like so many of the places that I've been to in the world that I've loved and had great experiences were, of course, because somebody else told me to go to them.
Sure.
And, but there's nothing better than being on the inside of that information, like finding the spot. Maybe somebody told you about it down the back alley that is the best restaurant in town that nobody else knows about. Like, being the insider of that information is really what you want to be. And so there is a hypocrisy of, I want the information for myself, but I'm not going to share this information with anybody else. But by virtue of sharing it, you're blowing out the spot, whether it's a restaurant or a surf spot.
Except
or
for
whatever.
there's a whole mechanism for this that works beautifully. It's called DMs on social media. Like, I love the fact that I can connect with people that I otherwise, that wouldn't email me or text me or whatever, right? Like, I think my information is fairly available, but I get that social media now is a communication tool. So if I say, hey, going somewhere, right? Going to wherever I'm going, and somebody DMs me, hey, check this beach out, right? Like, we should all roll it back into the private. Like, don't post that beach, or I won't post it either. Like, the understood of, I want to know that stuff too, but DMing someone, hey, go here, and then you DMing somebody else, et cetera, that's a great way for this to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Of people who will really appreciate it, really do it. Putting it on blast on your feed is, to me, again, people who do it, and again, I follow people who do this, post themselves surfing and somehow think they're ripping, even though, hey man, like, I have access to Idolo and all of these whoever's Instagram feeds. You're like mistiming a hack or you getting a head dip on a reef pass is like, no doubt that felt.
I know exactly who you're talking about because I saw that clip this week too.
Yeah, and it's no doubt that felt great for you, and I'm glad that you had that feeling.
And that you improved over your last session, and that's why you're highlighting it.
And that's great, and I am happy for you. I don't need to see that, man. Right. Like, you are still a kook.
Well, Scott Bass and I earlier this week were discussing Nathan Florence's wave that he published. That was just like crazy. John reposted it. Paizel posted it. Crazy right hand, 5-time overhead, slabbing barrel. And it's cold water. And he's wearing booties. And they don't provide enough contextual clues for you to figure out like what the beach looks like or the coastline. But it's this mutant crazy wave, right? And Scott and I were discussing it. And he claimed where he thought it was, and then I claimed where I thought it was. And then he's like, yeah, and gave our reasons for each. And as we were discussing, it came to me like, oh, we should not be discussing this. And clearly Nathan left it ambiguous. John left it ambiguous. Everybody left it ambiguous. So we should not be blowing it out. Well, it turns out, I won't say who, but one of us was correct. Scott or myself were correct because DMs started flooding through shortly thereafter and identified exactly where it was and gave him, facts, information for how you can identify it. And, but then I really felt a conundrum about it. I'm like, shoot, we have a public platform now. It's easy to get lulled into, oh, Scott and I are just having a conversation. We do want to figure this out, but we have a public platform and we should not be sharing that information publicly.
Semi-true, except I'm going to put that wave in the wave North and Mukalla category. Like, if you're going to stink and figure out how to go charge that thing, then have stinking at it, right? Like, and if you're gonna go,
True.
like, there's something about
That has its own boundaries.
to me,
built into
the
it.
ones that are real egregious are the ones that rich surfers post, right? Like accessible, user friendly, blah 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 waves that then you're gonna overblow that spot, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
with your kookdom, like, and or not even rich surfers, like anybody. If you're surfing somewhere that's accessible and user friendly, i.e., you are surfing it, then don't post it. Like,
Yeah.
we should all return to I feel, no, like, knock off the Instagram needing the whatever you're getting. Cause I don't know what they're getting. Like half of these that I see, they'll have like 8 comments of like,
know.
raise the roof and sick, you're killing it and whatever. Like, so it really mattered to you that much. Like, this is not part of your business. You're not a pro surfer. This has nothing to do with anything other than you needing somehow to get a little bit of extra pump, even though you had that feeling. Like, it looked super fun. It looked like you kind of suck, but it also looks great. Surfing feels great.
Yeah.
Enjoy the experience of surfing. Don't need the also heart eye emoji for your head dip barrel.
Have you seen the clips that Raymana has been posting of forcing people to get barreled at Surf Ranch?
I love that. Like, Raymana to me is like people screaming and trying to get off their board in the middle, and Raymana able not only to keep them upright, to force them into a barrel. Is Raymana's Raymana's barrel. I mean, it's absolutely epic.
So just today he posted some that were the most egregious examples. These people cannot stand on a surfboard without him holding them in position.
Yeah.
And he's phenomenal at his job, by the way.
Imagine doing that.
So he's literally holding them in position, and they're still hunched over into a stance that I've never seen on a surfboard before in my life. You know, they're just like bent in all the wrong spots and just frozen in this position. And right when the wave is hitting kind of the barreling section, he ejects off of his board because that's the only way to go. And all they do is just hold the position that they were locked into. Like, and they get a cover up. I'm not saying it's even a barrel, but they do get a cover up, and then they come out and like tip over and fall off. And it's like, wow, that person truly has no place in any barrel. It's just like mind blowing that this all came together in some way, shape, or form through technology, through him, through.
I mean, I love it. I think Raymana is unique in doing that. I can't imagine because Kelly's, the Surf Ranch barrel, you can look at it and think, oh, this is mechanical, and all of that is true. But there's still a lot of water moving and stuff like that. Like, it's still like a dynamic experience. And so for Raymana to hold people who are like fighting against him the whole time, like trying to kick their boards into his shin, and then him going and readjusting their board, Raymana is, those clips could be stacked and stored and then presented at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City as like some true and honest to goodness performance show.
They really will go down in the annals of surf history as something for sure.
It is epic.
It's
forcing people to get barreled.
It really is remarkable. Well, hey, thank you, Veyer Watches, of course, VeyerWatches.com, promo code SURF15. They give us the tools to live by, and so our tool for you is stop blowing up spots officially.
Literally stop doing it.
Rolling it all back. Do not identify anywhere that you are going at any point publicly.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy it for yourself, and know that enjoying something for yourself is the greatest of things in this modern era.
Completely. Okay, let's go to, we don't need to take a commercial break because we already did. So let's go to the closing segment of the show.
It's
barrel.
It's
barrel.
It's
barrel.
It's barrel.
It's a hard barrel.
It's barrel.
Hard barrel.
Barrel.
It's a hard barrel.
It's barrel. It's barrel, or not.
Thanks to Buell.
It's a straight barrel. And
Buell.
DJ Seaweed. Oh man, those
That
Buell
was-
wetsuits.
That wasn't DJ Seaweed. That was DJ J Martinez.
Oh, sweet. DJ J.
But yeah, Buell Surf, Buell wetsuits, Buell. I think we're going to be giving away a suit in the next week or two, by the way.
They are stinking great wetsuits.
They are.
I mean, they really, truly, like, nothing more needs to be said, I think, than anybody who's surfed for more than a few years. I'm going to say more than 10 years. The difference between a lousy suit and a great suit is it's the little things, right? It's like where the zipper is. It's how you climb into it. It's how it peels off. Like how warm it keeps you, of course, all of this. But Buell is best in class.
The fine details are dialed in for sure. So Buell Surf and then Buell Grit 25 gets you 25% off your purchase.
I can't believe they're still doing this. That is an
of
insane amount of money off a wetsuit purchase.
It really is. Yeah. So thank you, Buell, for wrapping Barrel or Nah up in neoprene. We love you. We will be giving away a suit. We're going to design that and probably roll it out in the next week or two, but, whatever. Look forward to that. It'll be fun. We'll make it fun. The first listener line call, it's interesting. 2 Barrel or Nahs came in back to back on the listener line that were about the exact same subject.
Wow.
So I'm going to play both of them just because they both make different points.
David Lee Scales and Chaz. This is Johnny up in Northern California. Got a Barrel or Nah for you. What about surfing dogs? Barrel or Nah? You know, like a chocolate lab on the nose of some guy's longboard, or a little Boston Terrier with a life jacket getting pushed into waves on a boogie board. Thanks, Philip.
I'm going to play the second one just because he put effort into the call, so I'm going to play it for him.
Hey, barrel or not, surfing dogs. On one hand, it seems really cool and cute. I had an English bulldog who loved to go on the paddleboard with me. I never really took him in waves, but I would take him kind of in this bay we have, and there would be a little boat wake that we could catch. I don't know, maybe some dogs enjoy it. He certainly did that. But then I've seen these dog surfing competitions, and some of the dogs kind of look terrified. I don't know if I can tell. It's just sort of the feeling I got because they're clutching this board, and then there's a wipe out. I'm like, dogs aren't meant to go in the ocean and wipe out and shit like that. So are we doing it for our vanity, like people who dress up their dog in a fireman outfit for Halloween? Or do you think maybe they enjoy it? So barrel or not? Thanks.
Do you want to lead us off?
I mean, I think there's the odd dog, because we've all seen these clips, who actually like it. I would reckon that 99% of dogs do not like it. They're just getting forced to do it.
Yeah.
So I think where it works is dogs, man's best friend, etc. And so it wasn't Ricochet, was it? Who's the dog that just died? The therapy dog?
I have no idea.
There was one surf therapy dog that would go out with kids with, I don't know if it was autism or whatever, right? Like, so it's a combo of kid in the water, surfing, riding a wave with the dog there as a fun component to that, right? So I'm all barrel on that. But that is like, I'm going to say 0.05% of the surfing dog population. There's like very few. I think anybody else who's taking their dog surfing, have at it, as long as you know you are torturing your dog, which is all fine and good. That's your dog. You do what you want with your dog. I've gotten in trouble on this show. One of our earliest me getting in troubles was for talking about dogs. I recant, except it really does feel good. Just a swift boot.
No. Well,
just kidding.
I'll jump in here then. Yeah. So we talked last week about forcing your kid to surf, and that's probably why these 2 calls came in. They probably landed on this thought after thinking about that. And I was talking about when you force your kid to surf, sometimes it's the parent who's trying to, live out their own thing basically through their kid. the pet version is entirely that,
Yeah.
like there is no dog who showed an inclination towards surfing and then the parent thought, or the owner rather thought, wow, okay, let's go ahead and get Fido out on a surfboard. He looks like he's into it.
I
It's
don't know.
only ever the human imposing it upon the
So,
dog.
I mean, this is where I'm saying the 0.5% though. I could imagine having a pup, right, who's just down there, like you take him to the beach and just in the surf, like basically
Yes.
body surfing, like running out, trying
Correct.
to sort of catch waves, where I feel like a small subset of dogs really enjoy that. And so
Tiny.
then if you've got one of those, then you can think, well, how will it feel on a soft top, right? Like if the dog is leading, which again, I think to exactly your point, like with kids, I think you gotta, what are the odds of forcing a kid to surf and then it taking with the kid? I'm gonna say you probably got it. Surfing is fun, essentially. Like getting pushed along with the ocean is fun. And so I'm gonna say you got 25% odds that if you throw your kid on a surfboard, you know, if they're not afraid of water, they can swim, other things obviously factored in. But if your kid can swim and is not afraid of water and you push him on a surfboard, well, I'll say even 40% chance that they might really like that, right?
Yeah.
I'll say again with the dog, it is 0.05% chance. Your dog has to show 100% inclination to basically body surfing themselves.
They really have to lead the way.
Yeah.
The late great Larry Haynes, I stayed at his house on the North Shore a couple years ago, and he had a dog named Luna, and Luna was that 0.5%. Luna was a great dog. I don't know if Luna's still around, but and Larry had imagery, posted in his house, blown up and framed of he and Luna at like kind of open ocean, nothing critical, but like larger surf that's lully on a stand-up paddle, so plenty of surface, and Luna perched on the nose, having the time of her life. And I got to know Luna and her personality, and she was that 0.5%. She was amped. So that there's nothing better in the world than seeing that. That's actually like super exuberant and infectious, but it's only because it's so rare. And so everybody else who's foisting it upon their dog is actually diminishing the returns for that tiny percentage. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe psychic abilities are capable in human beings, but all the fraud psychics out there make it look like complete hokum. And so now I don't take any of it seriously. Yep. And there might be a psychic who can tell the future and read minds and all that sort of stuff, but I'm throwing that baby out with the bathwater.
Because of the surfing dog who didn't want to go surfing.
The vast majority that don't. Yeah. So all that this does is make you look like a terrible owner and a terrible human being. So don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it unless the only way to do it is your dog is basically running away to go surf itself. Then you could say, okay, I'll feed your lifestyle, dog. Mm-hmm. I'll meet you where you're at.
Exactly. Okay, good. 2 gnaws coming off of that one. Barrel or Gnaw number 2. David, I heard your discussion recently about wearing hats at dinner and air travel attire. The next day, I flew to LA next to a guy wearing a tank top. I don't even think that falls into Barrel or Gnaw category because it's definitely a gnaw for obvious reasons, but keep up the quote good work. Yes, good work. Thank you, Dana. So Barrel or Gnaw, tank tops in public.
Tank tops in public are fine. Tank tops in public in close proximity to others, there's an easy solve here, which I do. You just bring a button-up shirt and you throw your button up over your tank top when you're in close proximity. Like if you are not around others, all great, all good, perfect, right? I see the style tank tops have a place, not in enclosed environments.
Because of the amount of skin showing or because of the aroma?
I think just the aroma and the potential for aroma. Yeah. Right? Like where I think if you throw a button up on over your tank top, then it shows you're aware of I'm containing this situation. It's all good, right? Like I was out in the sun looking stylish. but now I'm going to show you that I know what's going on.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. I'm also going nah, but for different reasons. And this falls in line for me about wearing shorts in public, wearing sandals in public. There's certain I don't know, segments of the body where it's too much. We don't want to see it. Like,
The
I don't know
arms?
why. It's
The
just
upper, the shoulder?
for some reason with men, I feel like it's just modesty is the more dignified approach.
I'm going to say if you've got cut arms, though, if you've got a shoulder definition into, you're good to go. You're fine. Show them arms off.
I think that does look better than if it's like a hairy back dude where the hair is overtaking the tank top, you know, and like growing up around it.
I mean, that has its own beauty.
But even still, even the chiseled arm guy, now he's doing it because he's the chiseled arm guy, and that offends me too.
I just think to be chiseled though.
But you know what? You know what's more dignified and actually looks even cooler is the dude who has those same arms, but they're wrapped up in a t-shirt, and you can see, holy cow, that guy's shredded, and he's not even showing off because he knows he's shredded. He's quietly confident.
So, like all pendulums, I mean, this show has really been dedicated to pendulum swinging. The t-shirt, I love the t-shirt. Do not get me wrong. But the t-shirt as the end-all and be-all of like male fashion and or like your male staple, I get it. You and I both wearing t-shirts right now. You and I both wear t-shirts 7 days out of 7. Except for the one time that you get into a tank top and or a button-up. And I am going to advocate for more tank and more button-up. Like,
all right,
this
I'm going the opposite.
The tyranny of the t-shirt needs to end.
I'm okay with the button up. I'm fine with that. And I'm even okay with the button up over the tank. I'm just saying too much skin. And I do agree with you, in tight quarters where you're forced to kind of be next to it or stare into it, I'm against that especially.
100%. That's a politeness issue. Yeah. Otherwise, though, I'm going to say every male listener, go get yourself a tank, 3. Go get yourself 3 button-ups. Start working out the t-shirt and working in other shirts. The tyranny of the tee must end.
Okay. Print that on a tee. Okay, final barrel or not came from MJ at the beginning of the show. A warm toilet seat warmed by another man's buttocks. We never addressed it in his email.
I'm going to say, as much as I would like to go barrel here, I'm going to have to say it's no barrel. Like, it is, if you got to do it, you got to do it, and don't be squeamish. Squeamishness for a man, I think in particular, is the extreme no barrel. So if you are at the airport, need to do some business, drop trow, sit down, and like bounce right up with a squeal because the toilet seat is warm, you have the greater problem. Squeamishness is a straight up flat C forever. There's no barrel coming anywhere for you. But I would prefer not to have the seat warmed up by the buttocks of another man. You?
I agree. I love that MJ admitted to the fact that he's kind of grown into appreciating the warmth of the other man's buttocks, pre-warming the seat for him. But as abrupt as a cold toilet seat can be, it is way more comfortable than a warm toilet seat, just sentimentally.
I mean, I think, and I don't know about you, but my mind, if I sit down on a warm toilet seat, will race right away to who was that dude?
Was he wearing a tank top?
I mean, kind of like taking account of what's this situation, because you're now in an intimate situation with this man.
Yeah.
Like, so what's going on here?
This is more intimate a situation with a man than I think I might have ever been in with a man before.
For sure.
And I can't even see him. And yet we're sharing something.
And you might have, though, seen him exit the stall.
May have.
I mean, if it's still warm, right? I'm just thinking airport is the thing. I mean, yeah. Or office, I suppose. But like, if it's still warm, you've likely seen your seat buddy.
I know, it's interesting to think. He said it's at work, And so there's only presumably a certain number of males at work. So you're really becoming intimate with a very small group of dudes who you're going to continue seeing.
Which I wonder too is if that intimacy is chosen, right? Like, do you see him
Oh,
go,
good
and then
point.
you're thinking, I guess I need to go too, but
Or, or,
subconsciously knowing that it's going to be warm.
or Todd eats Taco Bell every day, and you're like, I'm not going anywhere near Todd or the bathroom after Todd comes out of there. So I'm going to time my bathroom with the dude who is lean and on a healthy diet. And as soon as I see him exit, I'm rushing into the bathroom because I
To
want
catch
that
it,
warm seat.
to catch the warmth.
Yeah.
Which really, though, at the end of the day, we can all admit, I think, that the Japanese were right. That the toilet seat warmer is epic. Like the
And
Japanese and
self-cleaning, by the way.
yep, the self-cleaning Japanese toilet, where there is a South Park episode, I think, where one of the families gets the Japanese toilet for $5,000, worth every penny.
Yeah. I mean, let's just state it. The Japanese were right about everything.
Basically everything.
Basically.
Yeah. They were not right about, I guess they're right about everything.
Yeah, I'm going to give them everything. They're right about everything.
Yeah. Kanoa Igarashi, you straight up blew it. I mean, I guess you wear the flag, but...
No, but they don't wear tank tops. They don't wear tank tops. I don't see them in shorts. They do wear
a lot of flip-flops. A lot of flip-flops, which I could almost imagine the Kelly Turtle Moon sandal going well in Japan. Maybe it's a full Japanese market.
He's going to be huge in Japan.
Kelly is such a dumb entrepreneur that he will blow that badly.
I like turtles.
All right. And with that, thank you, Buell, buellsurf.com, promo code BuellGrit25. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We thank you for supporting the work. Thank you, VayerWatches.com. Of course, thanks to Sunbum for saving a life this week in Australia. Pretty huge.
Life saved. Thanks, Sunbum.
Pretty huge. All right. Well, hey, follow everything that Chaz is up to on beachrit.com. Everything I'm up to is on surfsplendorpodcast.com or at surfsplendor on Instagram. Anything else going on, Chaz?
I think that's it.
Sweet, man. Well, I mentioned earlier that I was going to play a call from Miguel in the Canaries. I still have that call, so we'll get to that next week along with a bunch of other stuff that we didn't get to this week. But until then, Chaz.
I like turtles.
All right. I will see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
All right.